Yeah. Robert, let me switch gears. I want to get your take on this and bring in the team as well there in New York. Lawmakers now have departed for their August recess, but not before House conservatives filed articles of impeachment against Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein, something House Speaker Paul Ryan said he does not support. Watch this.
Do I support impeachment of Rod Rosenstein? No, I do not. I do not for a number of reasons. First, I don't think we should be cavalier with this process or with this term. Number one. Number two, I don't think that this rises to the level of high crimes and misdemeanors. So that's a really high standard.
What's your take on this? Does Rosenstein's actions warrant impeachment? There obviously is a big movement to get him out from the right, with a couple of lawmakers like Mark Meadows pushing for it.
Look, I mean, ordinarily the process would be if Congress is unhappy with compliance by the Department of Justice and specifically Rod Rosenstein's office, and obviously impeachment is personal, that the way about that process is to start with holding somebody in contempt of Congress for failure to do what Congress expects to be done. And then also with regard to an impeachment effort, you would expect ordinarily following that there would be articles of impeachment, but hearings and so forth, and a process where you really kind of get into the question about whether or not the high bar of high crimes and misdemeanors is warranted. I mean, a lot of this to me looks like Congress and the White House to some degree are unhappy with the Department of Justice and the office of the Deputy Attorney General, but not specifically Rod Rosenstein himself. And you can't impeach the office. I mean, I think that's kind of what I see in this, is like that, and I think that's what the Speaker is referring to. That wouldn't meet the test. And I am, you know, look, there's understandable unhappiness, but, you know, unhappiness doesn't mean that the high crimes and misdemeanors have been accomplished.
Of course. Now, one of the issues, weigh in here, team in New York, one of the issues has been the fact that the Congress wants documents, and they feel that Rosenstein is telling the DOJ and people outside that we can't supply those documents. That's one issue. And the other issue, of course, is that Rosenstein was among those who signed off on the FISA warrant.
Maria, I'll add something that Chad Pergram over on the Fox News channel reported a couple of nights ago, that in fact GOP leaders had actually been rather pleased at the document production. It will not happen that Rosenstein gets removed from office. No one, based on impeachment proceedings, has ever been removed from the executive branch, and it would require a 2/3 majority in the Senate to do that. Robert Ray mentioned contempt. Attorney General Eric Holder was held in contempt of Congress back in 2012 for failure to turn over documents in the investigation in the Fast and Furious operation. But the Justice Department declined to pursue prosecution, and pretty much nothing happened to him. Alan Dershowitz yesterday raised the issue of why even introduce anything that has the word impeachment involved when that is the talking point from the left, the central talking point from Democrats. And you keep that word in the vernacular by doing this, and it doesn't help Republicans going into the midterms.
Yeah, that's a good point. Robert, your reaction?
Well, I think that's exactly right. I mean, I think politically this is also a loser. I mean, if you're heading into the midterm elections and the perception is with the public that the Republican Party is in engineering an effort to try to ultimately undermine the Mueller investigation by attacking Rod Rosenstein, I don't think that that's what the public expects to see. The public expects to see the institution of the Justice Department through the Deputy Attorney General's office to continue and conclude this investigation promptly, responsibly, and in a cost-effective manner. You know, let's get it done.
Yeah, but, okay, I think the impeachment effort is rightly seen as a shot across the bow, sort of in the old days, sending Bob Probert out on the ice when the other hockey team is taking liberties. But in terms of this contempt issue, we've seen a lot of these documents with black marker throughout. Do you think there is a case here, and should Mr. Ryan be saying impeachment's off the table, but Rod Rosenstein is headed toward a contempt vote if he doesn't cough up more information?
Well, we don't even see that, right? I mean, he didn't say that. I don't expect...
No, but should he say that?
Well, I think it seems to me that both in terms of impeachment and even contempt is an overreaction to what Dagan, I think, was suggesting, is an overreaction to, well, you're not happy about, the level of redaction that goes on. Look, nobody likes redactions because it's concealing from the public what Congress is obviously about, which is making sure that the American people are informed. But there are good and sufficient institutional reasons why sometimes information is withheld from the public, and the vehicle for doing that is redaction.
And you think that's true here? Do you think all these redactions are justified?
I think it's a cooperative process. I mean, I don't always think that all redactions are justified. I mean, it's sort of the same issue we get to with regard to withholding of classified information. I mean, there are some legitimate need to protect the privacy of information for the government to do what it is it does. Same with regard to the integrity of an ongoing investigation and redactions, in that light. And there's always a balance between the executive branch's interest in wanting to withhold information and Congress' interest in oversight and making sure that the public is informed and people have a way to evaluate whether or not the Justice Department is acting appropriately. And in that tension between the legislative and the executive branch, there's room to wiggle and move around. But generally speaking, we don't overreact to that to say, hey, wait a second, I don't like the level of redaction, so I'm going to hold you in contempt. And, even beyond that, I'm going to try to impeach you. I really don't think that's what this is about. I mean, these are the two institutions kind of jockeying for position here. Yeah. And it's appropriate that that happens. That's in the public interest. But I do think the heavy hammer of impeachment is not warranted, and I also don't think it's politically wise. And I think that's what the Speaker was addressing.
And we're going to have Chairman Devin Nunes weigh in on all of this on Sunday, the chairman of the Intel Committee. Obviously, he's among those who've been demanding more documents and more information. Robert, it is good to see you this morning. Thanks so much for weighing in on this important topic.
Thanks, Maria.
We'll see you soon. Robert Ray joining us there.